Hello and welcome to NRL Tonight. I'm Jake Duke. It's great to have your company this Wednesday evening. These are our top stories today. Broncos coach Michael Maguire hits back at the critics as he confirms his starting halves for tomorrow's clash against the Eels. Bunnies blow Ashton Ward's ankle injury set to sideline the halfback for longer than first expected. And the Sharks and Panthers set up a match of the round in Bathurst as Cronulla's halves look to take their side one step further in 2026. Yes, all that and plenty more to come this evening, but we begin in Brisbane and Broncos coach Michael Maguire has hit back at criticism of his club following their heavy round one defeat to the Panthers. Maguire also confirmed Ezra Mam will start at 5'8" against the Eels tomorrow night after his controversial benching last week.
It's not easy being the defending premiers, but after being kept to nil in round one, the pressure cooker has been turned up at Brisbane.
I think my team is we don't come up with excuses. We just didn't hit the mark.
The Broncos became just the second premiers in the grand final era to be held scoreless in round one, and coach Michael Maguire's late change to play Ezra Mam off the bench and start with Ben Hunt at 5'8" against the Panthers has courted widespread criticism.
As coaches, yeah, everyone wears that at some stage. But, you know, my role is to look after my players and my staff and the organisation. If we do that well, then, you know, look at the outcomes.
Mam came off the bench in the Broncos' grand final win last year, but Maguire concedes lessons need to be learned after they came up with 19 errors in an underwhelming start to their title defence.
Talking about the past is the past. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I chose the team last week and we didn't hit the mark. This week, we've got to make sure we do because we'll have a team coming up here wanting to have a crack at us. So, but, you know, we've looked internally to make sure that we get our things right.
Broncos legend Gordon Tallis didn't hold his tongue, suggesting there may be more drama at the Broncos than the club is letting on.
Disappointed that there was a hard session put on when they didn't think that they had to go do it. They went up to Toowoomba or something. That's loud around the place.
I should come to try and have a look.
Mam will start in the number 6 jersey in the Broncos clash against the Eels on Thursday night, with Hunt to wear 14.
Yeah, but also too, I'll let him show that tomorrow. Like, you know, everyone knows what Ezra can do. You know, and you know, we went with last week, but that's now gone. And what Ez will bring is, you know, how Ez plays. You know, he's quick. He gets over the ad line fast. He's good with his D, so he'll perform.
The Broncos have won 4 of their past 5 games against the Eels. Camelia Hanna, Fox Sports News.
Great to welcome in my guest for this evening, Premiership winner, Origin star Benny Ross. Benny, thank you for joining me. Let's talk about Michael Maguire there. We just heard he kind of owned up that he made the wrong call playing Ezra Mam off the bench. He needs to be the starting 5'8" for the Broncos for the foreseeable future.
Oh, definitely. And you see, he brings that type of energy. Like last year, they brought him off the bench to really change the focus of the game, but I think he's that type of player now, and he's matured enough that he can start the game and still bring that type of energy for them.
What do you make of the Broncos' performance? 19 errors. Is that just a one-off aberration? Is it a concentration thing? Is it reading your own headlines and missing the jump?
It's always a hard thing, obviously, being the premiers and backing up. Everyone wants to knock you off that mantle, and coming up against a team like Penrith, who do nothing wrong. They're clinical in what they do. They've been all off-season, they've been working on themselves, and we heard that last week, and they brought that game. So I don't think it was all the Broncos. I think Penrith had a lot to play with that.
How do you think the Broncos are feeling? But like it was this big show. They had the special run out. It was celebrating the grand final. First time in front of their home crowd since they won the title. A sellout to then be held to nil. Like that would embarrass you, right?
Yeah, it's disappointing, yeah, and you'd feel embarrassed, but I think a lot of the pressure's now off them. The people are focusing on the other teams that went really well over the weekend. Now they need to get back to basics, and you talk about Madge and how he restructures his team now and to look after their team. So I really think that even though it's a bad loss, it's a good thing for them.
All right, let's talk about their opponents this week. Tomorrow night on Fox League, the Eels, because they were humbled as well. What do you think Jason Riles has had to say to his group this week?
Yeah, it's, I suppose, that finding mission for them to understand where they went wrong. They did some really good things within their game. And I think coming up, and now they'll say, we're coming up with the premiers. So they need to lift a level. There's a lot of young guys in their team who really need to prove their position. And I feel that this is going to be a cracker of a game. I think both teams have something to prove.
We sat here last week and we kind of gave the Eels a chance.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at the dominance of Melbourne and how lacklustre Parramatta were, in particular through the middle.
I was quite excited the first 5 minutes. I thought Parramatta here, they come through, they're okay. Some of the shapes they were playing, I thought they're going to be really good. But then you forget about how professional Melbourne are. Bellamy had them in check. They had everything going well. Harry Grant, phenomenal. I can't see him being beaten in any aspect of the game at the moment. So Melbourne were great.
Yeah, the Melbourne Storm, they were on fire last week, as were the Sharks, and their playmaker Braden Trindle admits building a stronger off-field relationship with halves partner Nicho Hynes is showing in their on-field form. Cronulla are motivated to go one better in 2026 after bowing out in the prelim finals for a second straight year.
I think we've played a fair few games together now, so I think it was just all about getting some game time, playing with each other, and getting that combination to actually work. So it's been a couple of years in building in that, and I think it's just going to get better and better.
What was the motivation for making sure you were doing that, maybe more so than other pre-season?
No, I think just getting so close to that grand final, and just not wanting to let the boys down, coming back in, not good condition. So I think just wanting to be a part of something bigger, and just coming back and just really having that push to make that grand final. So I just wanted to come back in good condition.
What did you make of the performance of your halves on the weekend? I know there's been a lot of talk last year about their combination, but a lot of people seem to think that's the best they've seen them combine on the field.
Yeah, I think they've had a couple, they had heaps of good games like that. Just obviously more tries came off it this year, that game, on the weekend. But they're connecting really well, and it's helping steer us forward through the game as well. So when they're on, the rest of the team's on. So I'm happy they've been going well.
Panthers' Tom Jenkins and Kalani Going know just how tough it is to play in the NRL. Jenkins was sensationally dropped for last year's finals series, but is now using that as motivation in 2026. As for Going, he debuted in 2023 for the Warriors and hadn't played first grade again until last week's win over the Broncos.
Probably not a point to prove, more just important to come in, have a good pre-season, and let the rest take care of itself. If you start looking too far into the future, then you're going to start playing bad footy. So more just big pre-season and just prove that, I can belong there and hopefully make the spot mine.
I know you probably moved on from that, but if you cast your mind back to not playing finals, was it a hit to the ego at all?
Yeah, massively. It's always tough to swallow your pride, and it was a long season, and heading into the first final series, there's a lot of excitement around it, and I know we're going really well at the back end of the year, and there was something to prove. And obviously, not to be there is so disappointing. But in saying that, it's not just me. There's a lot of other boys in this building that have copped similar issues and had to deal with it and stuff like that. So it's just a part of footy, and it's not one of those things where you sit there and sulk about it for 2 weeks. You're just going to end up making it bad for the team.
Definitely, I think you take a lot of learnings out of those sort of lowlights, not necessarily lowlights, but I think you get a lot of resilience, and and then when opportunities come, I think you're a lot more grateful for it. I've definitely learnt a lot from my journey, and I would love to have played more games, but I wouldn't change my journey. So obviously a lot older at the moment than a lot of the other boys. So I'm just sort of taking it as it comes and trying to do the best I can with what time I got left.
It's the Ben Ross Cup on Saturday night from Bathurst. The Panthers up against the Sharks. Benny, your former two teams, both big winners in round one. Who impressed you most?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was trying to think about it before and thinking Penrith were great against the Broncos, but then looking at the Sharks, I think they're the most well-rounded team in the competition. I think everyone complements each player. Like we talk about the Nicho Hynes, Braden Trindle factor. I think without their forwards going forward and levelling them out, then these two don't play as well as what they did. So it's going to be exciting. I think they're the two contenders so far for the end of the year, along with Melbourne, but this weekend will be a deciding factor. You mentioned Braden Trindle and Nicho Hynes there, and we heard in the package the players talking about, potentially the best they looked. Is that, from your perspective, the best you've seen them look as a halves combination? Definitely. And they're playing with confidence. So, hanging out together, that's probably a factor. but then Tricky, when he's on fire, he's on fire. And the other night he started, and that first 5 minutes was probably some of the best football I've seen him play, and it just continued on for the 80 minutes.
The knock on the Sharks in recent years has been the fact that, yes, they can flog the Titans and teams down the bottom of the ladder by big scores, but when it comes to Melbourne, Penrith, these teams, that they haven't been able to get the job done. Why do you think that's different this year, and what do you think they'll show, and how much will they want to be showing that in Bathurst?
Yeah, and that's the thing, they want to be showing it. I feel that they've had the other teams' measures. I really feel that they're confident going up against the Melbournes and the Broncos. I think everyone struggles against Penrith because they are so clinical in what they do, but this weekend it shows that, as I said, they're very well rounded. I think they're probably the best in the comp for that. So getting out there and completing their sets, getting a fair bit of confidence, and it could be going close to beating Penrith.
All right, what about Penrith? Because they look like a team with a steel about them, right? We talked about distraction-free pre-season, no major players leaving, and a chip on their shoulder almost. Yep. Is that what you saw from that performance?
Definitely, and that's the thing. And you hear them in their conversations. They're focusing one game at a time and only focusing on themselves. They're not talking about who they're playing or what they're doing against them. It's really just doing their best football. And they brought that out the other night against the Broncos. You could see that they were just, mentality was perfect for them.
On the Panthers, we've seen, Dylan Edwards, by his own admission, kind of struggled towards the back end of the year, or he thought he did, even though if you look at his numbers, they're pretty impressive. But just his game the other night would have given you plenty of confidence if you're the Panthers that he looks back to his best.
He looked fresh. He looked like he was back to his best, and it looked like towards the end of the last season, he had a lot on his mind. It looked like the stresses of football and so much pressure on him, that's sort of come off now. They all talk about the Reece Walshes, those type of players, that he gets to go out and play his game and play natural.
Right, let's move on to the Storm now, and their pack say it's about what fans don't hear from hooker Harry Grant, which makes the number 9 so good. The skipper led from the front again in Melbourne's thrashing of the Eels, earning high praise from his fellow men in the middle.
Yeah, Harry's probably one of our most consistent players. Like he's killing nearly every game, so I wasn't too surprised like how he played, and he's been massive for us, and he's always big for us. That's why he's our captain. I feel like he's pretty vocal, like especially in the ruck. Like I'm in the middle, and I feel like he's talking to me nearly every tackle. So he's massive for us, and the way he communicates on the field and how clear he is to not just me but all the ruck and the edges is pretty good.
Off the back of yet another narrow loss, the Dragons are confident they'll be a better side in 2026. Their next game after Las Vegas doesn't get any easier. They face the Storm on Saturday afternoon.
We can really match it against the top teams, or we seem to grow a leg or get up for the big games, and then the games where it's probably even, where we think it's even, or where we think we can win, we probably drop off a bit. So hopefully it doesn't get like that this year, and we just play every game the way we know we can play. But it's going to be a big test. You don't want to be starting the year off 0-2, obviously. The year we had last year obviously wasn't the one we wanted. A lot of injuries throughout the course of the year. We lost a couple of round 1 and 2. But it also opened up doors for our younger guys coming through, which we have a really good young crop coming through, and gave them 10, 15 games experience. So it's only going to help our year. This year we've obviously made some good signings for the following year, 27. But it's a young crop, like I said, with a couple of older lads in Gutho, Cookie, and myself who are helping try and move them in the right direction and help them grow. We want to win now, obviously, but it's always about the future and growing as a club. I definitely think we're going to be in more games 2026 than last year. We want to close out games. We were in a lot of games last year where we probably couldn't finish the way we wanted, where we got to a really good lead, with 10 minutes to go, and then we couldn't hold it off. So we've learned from that. But I think you're going to see a different team that competes harder and cares, for each other.
Meanwhile, forward Emre Guler is hoping an uninterrupted run in 2026 can help take his game to the next level. Entering his second season with the Red V and under coach Shane Flanagan, he has opened up on what the coach expects from him.
I feel like I've got a lot more to offer, and I don't feel like I could showcase that last year. Just a few injuries and suspensions and stuff like that, so I definitely wasn't at my best last year. So I want to put my best foot forward this year and show the club that I can be that type of forward that they want me to be.
Has Shane Flanagan kind of indicated what kind of forward he does want you to be and what role he wants you to play?
Yeah, he definitely has. He wants me to just be tough and get forward and be that guy that takes the team forward. So just simplify my game really. Like it doesn't, just cut out all the silly stuff. Had a few silly offloads and stuff last year, but yeah, just wants me to really simplify it and just do my job.
Big game for the Dragons against the Storm on Saturday to kick off Super Saturday. Benny, you heard Valentine Holmes say there that the Dragons, they grow an extra leg against those top sides. And I guess that's a good thing and a bad thing, but as well, right? Because then sometimes they can fall away against the teams that are around them or below them on the ladder.
Yeah, and you find that's the hard thing. You look at teams who play to the level they're playing against, which is quite hard, but one thing you did say was that they battle hard and they learnt last year that they were in front and they lost games. So Flano would have had them this whole pre-season practising, how do we shut games out? And I feel they nearly did that against the Bulldogs in round one. I feel that they're just that little bit better. I know a lot of people don't give them a lot of chances in these games, but as we've said, if they're battle hardened, they've got some experienced players there with a bit of youth, they can win those games.
Is the hard thing when you're in all these dogfights all year, when you're losing by 2 points, 4 points, like how much does that take out of you physically to be in those games all the time? Every result comes down to the final 10 minutes, as opposed to, some of these sides that have those bigger wins.
Yeah, and it's those points that, yeah, you do tire much more quickly over the weeks, but everyone's going to have that chance of getting over the curve and winning those games. And once you start winning those games, they seem to flow on, and that's the flow-on effect. They've learnt to win those type of games.
Winning becomes a habit, certainly.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Melbourne Storm, because we sat here last week and both of you and I said, they look a bit vulnerable.
Yep.
Have you changed your tune after that?
Totally. And when we look at it, probably something we should have said was a Bellamy team is never vulnerable. They train so hard. They practice every condition, and look at the calibre of player they still had. Even though they lost some, those guys who came in, they knew what to do for their job.
Harry Grant was unbelievable in the 60 minutes he was on the field. I heard Matty John say this week that he doesn't think it's a stretch to call Harry Grant the second greatest hooker of all time behind Cameron Smith already. Yep. Is that a fair call, do you think?
It's up there. It's up there. He's consistent. Every week, you know what you're going to get from him. He's an 8 or 9 or a 10 out of 10 every week. He doesn't have a bad game, and that's the thing. If you throw those type of stats out and look at them, and then consistently he's behind there by Cameron Smith.
Yeah, he was unbelievable last week. Harry Grant will be in action on Saturday for the Storm.
The thrill of playing at Waikato, we all refer to it as the eighth wonder. What's it like?
The feeling you get when you're there and it's a packed house and they're cheering for you, and up there's people on the roofs. It's a sunny Sunday afternoon. There's no better feeling.
One try of yours to watch on repeat, which one would you choose?
There's a few, but what comes to mind, there's a few. I like...
They're all flooding back, I can see it.
An amazing story in rugby league with Jason Taylor, who once played 194 consecutive first-grade matches. Welcome to the Fan. Fold our chair.
Thanks for having me, bossy.
Yes, episode 2 of The Fan airs tonight on Fox League West. Tigers players talk about their love of Leichhardt Oval. David Fafita picks his favourite NRL tries, plus Andrew Voss sits down with the great halfback Jason Taylor. That's 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Channel 502. Let's turn back to the day's news now, and Rabbitohs recruit Bronson Garlick has revealed just how much it meant to make his Bunnies debut over the weekend. The same club his dad Sean captained years ago. The hooker made the move from Melbourne at the end of last season, but admits he grew up bleeding red and green and knows all too well how big of a grudge match Friday is against arch rivals the Roosters.
Yeah, I actually thought that it would never get the opportunity again. So to be holding that jersey and to run out there and to wear the number 9 too is pretty cool. Obviously, Dad wore that for many years here, and I never thought I'd get the opportunity to wear red and green. And finally being back here now, it's surreal. It is.
Yeah. And your old man, either before or after the game, those hugs and those moments, what did he say to you?
He was just so proud. He was shedding a few tears too. He choked up presenting the jersey, and Mum was there, Mrs was there. They were all had a couple of tears in their eyes, so it was really special, and that's definitely one moment. I said it during the week that it's probably a prouder moment for me than my NRL debut, just because to be back here and not seeing those early days, never really thought I'd get the opportunity, like you said before, and to be back here now and do that is pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, I think being a South supporter and growing up in the area, you either went for South or went for Roosters, and even though you had mates that were Roosters fans, you hated them when it come around this week. So it'd be the talk into the weekend, and then you get to school on the Monday, and whoever won had bragging rights until the next game. So I think that's hasn't changed. You get around the community and you see all the fans these days. Nothing's changed. So I think for me, it's going to be a really special week, and the rivalry is definitely still there.
A privilege for Bronson Garlick to continue that family legacy, but what a privilege as well, Benny, to play behind Cam Murray. He was unbelievable for the Bunnies. Is he their most important player, what he does in the middle?
Well, yeah, you can say he is, but the full team, like the complement of players they now have at the Bunnies, is that you're looking everywhere to go, and I think that relieves Cam a little bit, that he is that inspirational leader. He does the work, he does the hard stuff, and to have the outside backs and second rows there taking a bit of that pressure off, he's just a leader.
Right, we heard Bronson talking about the rivalry between South and the Roosters. The subplot of that, or maybe it's the headline act, is Alex Johnston. Do you see him getting 2 on Friday night and breaking the record?
It's a hard stretch. I honestly thought he had a fair chance of it, but now looking at it, and I know the Roosters need to stand up this weekend, it'll be hard. It'll be very hard, but I hope he gets it.
For Alex Johnston, storming the field, yes or no? What do you reckon?
Either way, it's going to be a special moment if it does happen. I don't think you're not going to be able to stop the fans. They're all going to go out and they're all going to embrace that moment. It's something we'll always remember, or something we probably won't see again in our lifetime.
Bit of a blow for the Rabbitohs with the news this afternoon that Ashton Ward is expected to be ruled out for 8 weeks with that ankle injury, but they do have Jaden Sullivan in action for them this weekend. Let's move to the Raiders, and they are still on a high after their thrilling Golden Point win over Manly, but the players aren't shocked. It was young Ethan Sanders who stepped up for the side. The halfback slotted the match-winning field goal in just his 5th NRL appearance, and his teammates insist he has a footy maturity beyond his years.
Yeah, it was good, and he's impressed me very much. He's a young player, and he's probably got the oldest head in the team. It was good to see him get that field goal over there.
Obviously, looking back at that game, we can take a lot of confidence in our defense. We didn't touch the ball for the first 15 minutes, and we still got away with icing it on the cakes there. The boys are ready to rock and roll today, and obviously we're building to the week.
The Dolphins have one clear goal in 2026, and that's making the finals for the first time in the club's short history. The Redcliffe boys have narrowly missed out in previous seasons, finishing 9th last year and 10th in 2024, but insist this year is not just a goal, but an expectation that they will be there come September.
Absolutely. I think that's our expectations. We should be playing finals footy. We've been close the last couple of years in our history, but we're no longer the underdogs or no longer a new team. I think for us, it's a dead set goal for us, and I expect nothing less.
All the talk on the off-season, you guys were telling us you're better defensively, and then what happened last week. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, look, it's only early days. It's obviously a big improvement area for us as a club, as a team, and we've still got another 24 rounds to get that right. So we had some pretty big discussions in the meeting room, having reviewed the game, and that's always be a focus area for us as our defence. So we'll keep doing that.
Like disappointing your dad. That's how Titans players have described their 50-10 thrashing from the Sharks in round 1 in a rocky start to Josh Hannay's tenure as coach. The rookie coach resisted the urge to give his side a break following the defeat.
No, he was pretty good after the game, handled us pretty well. I was kind of expecting one, but no, he just said he was disappointed. It was like he hasn't seen that side of us in a long time throughout the preseason and the trials as well. So, he was right, everything he said. So, disappointed.
He definitely strikes me as the kind of disappointed dad rather than angry dad kind of reaction. Would you say that's true? Like, how would you describe his demeanour around the...
I'd probably say the same thing. And that usually sucks a bit more because you hate letting them down.
A big game for both of these teams, the Titans and the Dolphins, on Sunday night. Benny, what do you think about how both of those teams bounce back from conceding a lot of points in round 1?
I think they both will. I think they really will bounce back. But I feel that Josh Hannay's team, a defensive structured coach, I feel that they'll be the benefactors of a big loss last week and coming into this.
How shocking was that?
Yeah,
considering
we're all shocked.
what we saw in the trials.
Yeah, no, and Josh is a phenomenal coach. I think they were outclassed and out-enthused.
Before we go, there's a bit of breaking news. It's been confirmed that Kalyn Ponga has been cleared to make that switch from his allegiance from Australia to New Zealand. From your perspective, what do you think? Good thing for the Kiwis come a World Cup year?
Oh, it's fantastic for the Kiwis. It's one of these things, understanding where the rules and regulations are now with players coming in and going out. It's a hard one for me, being old school, but and when you have the best players in the game playing in those final games, then I'm a happy man.
All right, Kalyn Ponga will line up for the Kiwis at the end of the year. You would think, Ben Ross, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
See you next week. That's all we've got time for on NRL Tonight this evening. Fox Sports News has your headlines all night long on Channel 500. And for viewers on Fox League, NRL 360 is up next.